Get ready, listeners, because it is part two of The Spiritual Businessman with Tom and Tiger Cole. Enjoy the episode.
And that sounds great, because the more sensitive I notice I've become, the more aware of different thoughts and feelings that are floating in the environment. I mean, in a way, I keep sharing these simple ideas, that I'm energy, I'm here to learn and grow. Like we're saying, we're big radio receivers and transmitters. And one of the things I've been noticing with my sensitivity is that it kind of, as I unfold the layers, it's what keeps expanding.
Yeah.
But I'm lately I've been regrouping that, I really need to like discern it fully. I've been sharing about this for a few
Yes.
months,
Yes.
and in some areas of my life, I'm relaxed. I don't have any, bad habits or thought patterns that
Yes.
interfere with that. And when I'm relaxed, it's like it's easy to discern fully what I'm picking up. And other times when I have other concepts, like that's all there is, or there won't be any more, or I'm getting old and
Lack.
those kinds of and limiting thoughts that we're not even aware of. Because some of the limiting thoughts I've noticed are like kind of friendly thoughts. It's not like they're not mean or harsh, or it's just limiting,
Right.
I cut off that flow of solutions. And that's why I say, it turns into in my business life when I can run across those challenges, because there's the funny thing about business is the environment that you do business in is always changing. The 30, 40 years I have in being involved with business, it's not the same. It's kind of the same. There's common elements to the way it was 20 years ago, but it's it's always a bit different,
Right.
And but as I tune into my guidance, I can really discern, what's my opportunity in this situation. So I say opportunity, that's a positive word. I'm looking at it. There's an opportunity there for me to grow spiritually. Is this something I came to be involved with?
Right.
And to what extent?
Right.
So that I begin to know where I begin and end, and that that really is evolution. And earlier in the episode, I said something about, can listening to your guidance make you rich, financially rich. And I notice that when a lot of people go to psychics, so it's always about love and money and,
Sure.
if I know I've forgotten something, but the basic things,
You bet. You bet.
relationships, health. Yeah. Love, money, and health. And, but as I clarify my thoughts and my energy, take health. I do have more energy.
Yeah.
I am more awake. All of a sudden, I don't need a nap in the middle of the day, and I always like a little bit of a snooze, but the other day I got up at like 3:30. I was working with my guidance, got a few key insights. Bang, I was working, and I had a gig that night. And I maybe laid down for 10 minutes, just
Right.
before the gig, just to kind of recharge. But I was, I remarked to myself, boy, when I'm really on, there's a lot of energy that flows. So anyway, those are some of the things we're talking about.
Yeah. So let's dive in a little bit on some of these, because you're giving that amazing picture on everything.
Okay.
So to dive in, because you're inspiring me with a bunch of this stuff. So let's start with just the core.
Okay.
Right. Let's really get down to some things that we know that maybe you can work with, and you can have that spiritual life while you're in business, while you're in personal, while you're in social. So the first thing is, do I know what I want? Do I know what I want? Right? There's needs and wants, and you were bringing that up. Is that my needs are basically my physical survival
Mm-hmm.
and my spiritual. That's pretty much what you can boil down your needs to. So anytime you say, I have the need,
Mm-hmm.
you can now have a place for it when you're thinking about your needs. They're your physical survival and your spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the spiritual community, there's a thing that we say where the only thing you take with you are your needs.
Uh-huh.
Right? You can't take your wants with you. So what's your wants? Well, your wants are everything else, right? You're the house, the car, the gold, and the diamonds, and the clothes, my body. I can't even take my body with me when it's time to go home. All those are some form of wants, and they're important.
Mm-hmm.
They are part of. Don't let anybody tell you that having material things on planet Earth is not good. No, they are good because they're helping me with my opportunity. They're helping me have an experience. So I have lots of possessions, but I just don't want to be possessed by my possessions. I need to be able to let them go. You need to be able to let them go when it's time to go home. Right? So coming back to that thing, do you know what you want? Right? If you already know what you need, right? That's your personal spiritual growth and your physical survival. Right? Now that you have that clear, do you know what you want? Right? And that's that whole thing about
I see.
the person who's doing what they love never works a day in their life. Right? Because they've managed to bring together, imagine that, they bring that super highway, the roads together to create a super highway of their needs and their wants together. So they're fulfilling what they want while making sure they're taking care of their needs. And that's why I love the way you say opportunity, because now it means that everything I encounter is an opportunity. And even better than that, I got a good business nose to say, or you have a good business nose to say, that's not for me. Not from a perspective of right and wrong or good and bad, or my preferences get in the way of what is essential, right? It's because I start going, okay, I know what I really want and I know what I need. So the very first thing to do is recheck all of what you need and want right now, right? Take the time after this podcast and actually just take 5 minutes and just go to high level. Do I know what I want for this month? Do I know what I want going forward? Do I know what I want in this relationship? Do I know, why am I at work? Why do I go to work? Maybe for some people it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so I can pay for it, Whatever it is, clarify it. Get it clear. Otherwise, if I don't have it clear, I'm going to be a usable instrument, or I'm going to be at the whim of whatever's going on around me. Right? So the other way to say it is, the more you have your needs and wants clear, the less the environment can push me around, right? As a matter of fact, it becomes like, imagine a choppy waters. Maybe some of you can relate to that. You look out in the water or the ocean, and there's some days it's just like glass. It's just like so smooth. There's other days it's very choppy, right? So we're talking about that rhythms and routines. Sometimes we have real smooth water. Sometimes we get real choppy water. So we're moving into that time where we're getting into some choppy water. Well, the worst thing you can do for anybody if you're listening to this, I assume you're interested in spiritual things. The worst thing for a sensitive person or someone's interested in their personal development or their spiritual life is to have no direction.
Right.
Especially when the choppy waters come. If you have direction and you have purpose, you can cut through a lot of that chop because you're moving. Right?
Yeah.
But when I get stagnant, if I get stagnant, right, because I'm in my funk, or somebody said something or did something and I didn't earn that thing that I wanted to earn, right, which happens.
Yeah.
But if I let myself go back into my hole or feel depressed or feel angry or whatever the trip is, if I do that too long, the boat stops.
Yeah.
And now I'm fighting everything around me. Everything starts moving and I get seasick,
Yeah. For a sensitive person, they need direction.
That's it. So anyway, bottom line is the number one, we'll cover a couple more things, but
Good.
The bottom line, the first thing is, are you clear with what you want? Are you clear with your direction? And start at the top. That's what you brought up, Tom, about saying, okay, I'm a soul with a physical body. Okay. And then work my way down to where, I want a certain amount of cash flow. Hey, I want this in my house. I want this kind of relationship.
Mhm.
Great. That's wonderful. Clarify it, make it a goal, and start moving toward it. Everything else is an intellectual game to get me off. Right? The intellect, my intellect, your intellect is only here for one thing, to help you organize to achieve your goals. That's it.
Yep.
If it gets in the way of telling you can't do this and oh no that, then you're using your head for something it wasn't made for. Now, can I do it? I know I do it sometimes, telling me, oh, I can't, or I'm in lack, or oh, how am I going to do that? And then before you know it, here come the emotions, and
Yeah.
oh my gosh, there's no end. There's just no end. It's a roller coaster that doesn't stop. But the moment I say, wait a minute, how do I do that? That's what you're there for. How do I do that? You don't tell me that I can't. You tell me how, right? I tell a little funny joke and then
Oh yeah,
you share.
please. I love jokes.
So there's a funny story. The guy goes to interview accountants, right?
Uh-huh.
He's this wealthy guy. He's interviewing accountants, and he says to the first accountant, he says, "Yeah, what's 1 + 1?" And the accountant says, "Well, that's 2, sir." Oh, okay. Goes to the next accountant. He says, "What's 1 + 1?" He says, "Well, 2." Okay. Goes to the next accountant. He says, "What's 1 + 1?" He says, 2. Oh, okay. Goes to the last guy. He says, "What's 1 + 1?" And the accountant looks at him. He says, "What would you like it to be?" Now, nobody put this on Facebook that Tiger's saying that you should break the rules. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that my head and I'm meant to be organized on how to accomplish something.
Uh-huh.
That's what it's about. So it's not, can I do it? How do I do it? And if I'm working with the balance of my head and my heart, right, the spiritual and the material, then I'm going to tune into what I need and want. I'm going to be tuned into the insights and the organization in my mind to how do I achieve it, right? And that one piece there is going to be so important for what we're moving into. The more you and I have the creativity and the insights to move forward, the more it's going to help not only you and I personally, but it's going to help everybody around. Right?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the more that we're all relaxed, or, we don't, I have my ups and downs, so to speak, but it's like I've always been sharing for quite a while, is I don't get stuck there for I kind of get tired of being down. I go, well, let's go do something else, let's move on. And, but it will be challenging for some folks. And the best thing we can do, or I can do, is stay relaxed, stay positive, be willing to be of service. And that's a healing influence right from the get-go. I mean, it's amazing. I notice when I'm relaxed, people will say to me, and I'm tuned into my guidance. I go, God, you're such a nice guy. And I go, I've hardly said anything to you. Why would you say that? I don't even, I have a few friends that say that to me all the time. Like, you're such a great guy. I'm like, really, I don't spend much time with you, and I don't. So
that'll be
it's
$5. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's the aura. And I love to say, if you really want to make a difference in your environment, because many of us are motivated in that area.
That's right.
We'd really like to see things. We know that there's always going to be different levels of consciousness and a bit of toing and froing. And you might say a lot of different spiritual seminars are happening in lifetimes for folks. But the more relaxed I am, the clearer I am, the more that I work with my guidance for my situations and my opportunities, that healing energy, that's this, the little secret about it all is that we're soul, we're energy. And guess what? Everything's energy and it flows. Right. And what I put out, will float back to me. You might say the echo, comes back. We're not the only folks who share this sort of thing.
Right.
But I haven't run across really, so far, I haven't run across too many organizations that start up with, you're already perfect.
Right.
You already have all your own answers.
That's right.
It's just a matter of, getting your head out of the way and trusting your feelings. And it's through experience that we get into how we feel.
That's right.
I can't start with my intellect. I have to start with my feelings and then utilize, my organizational skills. So it's great to get organized. It's great to get educated, as long as it doesn't, you start falling into the habit of why you can't do something instead of looking. Sometimes the dumb guy, the entrepreneur that never made it through college or high school
That's right.
becomes a gazillionaire
That's
because he's too dumb to know that he can't do it.
That's
he just has a feeling and he starts organizing himself and gets the information that he needs. What if we all did that? We'd all be happier.
Yes.
We'd all be happy and free.
That's right. So here's an example of making things an opportunity.
Okay.
Right. So in business, you hear so often, right? It's probably a broken record to everybody, right? We want to increase income.
Uh-huh.
We want to lower expenses.
Right.
We want to build assets, and we want to get rid of liabilities, right?
Right.
This is a common thing that everybody talks about. So if I say that, and now from a practical perspective, that's a really good idea for where we are and what's coming, right?
Yes.
Let's have that on the wall someplace. But now let's apply that everywhere. Let's apply that spiritually. Okay. I need to be clear about what's coming in, what I'm working with to help that energy move through me and in.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be clear about what can take from me. Right?
Right.
So what can expense, what pulls on me? The expense, right? So energy in, energy out. So the first thing is, okay, how can I lift and build income? How do I lower the expense of that? In other words, being able to do what I do what you do in a way that's more effective and efficient, where there's not as much wear and tear. Right? Can you do that in a way that's less wear and tear? That's an example of building energy and not losing it as you build it. Right? Okay, assets and liabilities. An asset is wisdom. Right? That's what you take with you. As a matter of fact, when you have an experience and you really get it into your toes, that becomes wisdom, right? And they say it's your spiritual real estate. Right? It's something that you take with you. A liability, of course, is similar to what we talked about earlier, except for it becomes more of that heavy, that larger spiritual realm where it's something that's genuinely taking from me. Right? So if we're in a magic place where things are going on, where those are going to get amplified, right? If you want to feel secure during this time, think about it from that perspective. Let's take something that we all can remember and understand: income, expense, asset, liabilities. This is not about an accounting show, by the way. I'm not into this. I don't know
spiritual accounting,
right? But if I understand those basics, I apply them all over, not just in the bookkeeping. I apply them in my whole life. Now I'm starting to bring that superhighway together. Right? Imagine how you would feel, how I would feel if I'm able to start doing that in everything I do. How secure would I be? How secure would you be? Right? That I'm moving through, working with people. I feel solid and secure because I know what the energy exchange is. I know that I'm moving forward. I'm building my wisdom. I'm building material things too. Right? And I'm finding ways to get rid of the things I no longer need that can hold me back. Right? That is just another golden nugget for where we are and where we're going. As simple as that sounds, and it's probably rote as it sounds, how powerful that would be is if you start taking a look. Remember, we said, take a look at your wants and your direction now. If you start applying that on how you're going to achieve what you want, right? Apply that how you're going to do it. Now, I'm going to go do this. Great. Now, how are you going to do it? What way are you going to do it? I'm going to do it in a way that I'm building that energy, and I'm not going to do it so it's taking away from me. Right? that little thing creates so much inner security. It's like being a pillar when everything else is being blown around, right? That's how, that simple thing, that's how powerful it is of accepting the opportunity.
That's a great analogy, image, etc. Metaphor, whatever the right word is for all that.
Well, I like to give them.
Yeah, they're good. Well, folks, Tiger has put together some subscriptions that you can find in the links on the show notes. There's a few free videos to give you a taste of what we've got to offer. As from the Wayshowers College, he's pulled together quite a team of other spiritual leaders, people who have been involved in this work for decades. And there's some really great stuff. And, I listen to these videos and I go, my God, I've been hearing that sort of thing for 30, 40 years. And I just finally heard something I never really noticed before. And particularly during these days, the economy that we're probably going to find ourselves in and the upheaval, it's really good to be reminded again that, I'm a soul, and some of the what the video shares will be very beneficial. Be a little shot in the arm every so often. And then you can work through a subscription series that helps you unfold your sensitivity and become more aware of your spiritual helpers and how you work with your 4 spiritual gifts. You start to communicate easier with other folks. You get inspired. I think that's the overall feeling, is this the inspiration to carry on and to start to realize the value of all the experiences I'm having, even if it isn't what I think I prefer. In my feelings, I'm probably gung-ho. Yeah, let's do it. If we're going to do it, let's do it. Let's have this adventure. Yeah. But anyway, so have a look at the show notes for the free videos, the subscriptions that we've got. And that'll eventually, that's part of working with me as a spiritual businessman. I can offer some value added there, but you could also work with it on your own. And we have some other tools and techniques available. We have a spiritual cleansing video that Teresa put together, which shows folks how to start cleansing. So we'll put a link in the show notes to that as well. Well, Tiger, I think it's about time we wrap this one up.
Sounds
Do you
good.
have anything else you'd like to share before you go on this episode? Now, we're going to have him back. We're going to discuss a few more things, but this is just one of our series of the spiritual businessman.
Yeah, I mean, I think my parting words would just be that what way do you want to move forward? It's no longer if you're going to be successful. What way would you like to be successful? What way would you like to be engaging with your current relationships and your new relationships? What way would you like to achieve your next level of business? What way would you like to move closer with your spiritual helpers and that spiritual communication? That's, I would say, start putting your thoughts and feelings into that, because that will help you with your direction and how you're going to achieve it. And if you're clear with it, then all of the backing and support will be there, as long as you're clear with it.
Beautiful. Well, folks, remember, as Teresa says, life's too short. Do not be enthusiastic about your unique journey.
To keep the enthusiasm going, please like, subscribe, or comment below. We would love to hear from you.